He was not supposed to survive that day. There was nothing unusual about the road, nothing that hinted at what was about to happen. The sky was clear, the traffic was light, and his mind was somewhere between routine thoughts and distant concerns that felt small and manageable. It was just another drive, one of countless others that blur together and leave no memory behind. That is what made it so dangerous. There was no warning, no instinct telling him to slow down or pull over, no voice in his head suggesting that something was about to go terribly wrong. In a single instant, everything shifted. A sudden movement, a flash in the corner of his eye. Tires losing grip. The sound of metal colliding with unforgiving force. Time did not slow down the way people imagine it does. It fractured. 1 second stretched into fragments of chaos, each one filled with confusion and impact. The steering wheel jerked violently. The windshield exploded into a storm of glass, and the world outside twisted into something unrecognizable. The car spun, then stopped with a force so brutal that it seemed to erase everything that came before it. Then came the silence. It was not peaceful. It was heavy, suffocating, unnatural. The kind of silence that follows destruction, where even the air feels frozen in shock. His body did not respond the way he expected. There was pain, but it was distant, scattered, as if his mind had not yet caught up with what had happened. He tried to move, but something held him in place. The seatbelt dug into his chest. The frame of the car pressed inward around him. Breathing became shallow, uneven, uncertain. He was trapped. His thoughts began to race, but they had nowhere to go. No clear plan, no immediate solution. Just the growing awareness that he was alone on a road that suddenly felt abandoned. No voices, no footsteps, no signs of help approaching. The realization settled in slowly, then all at once. If no one came, this moment would be the last one that mattered. He listened, hoping for anything. The sound of another car, a distant voice, even the faintest indication that someone else was nearby. But there was nothing. Only the faint ticking of the damaged engine and the quiet, relentless pressure of time slipping away. His vision blurred, then sharpened, then blurred again. Consciousness became something unstable, something he had to fight to hold on to. Every second required effort. Every breath felt like a decision. The world narrowed to the inside of that broken vehicle, to the weight on his chest, to the growing sense that he was fading faster than he could resist. And then, something changed, not in a loud or obvious way. There was no sudden noise, no dramatic interruption. It was subtle, almost imperceptible at first. A shift in the air, a presence that did not belong to the stillness. Something had entered the scene, quietly, without announcement, as if it had always been meant to be there. He could not see clearly yet, but he felt it. That strange, undeniable awareness that he was no longer completely alone. His breathing paused for a moment, not out of fear, but out of confusion. Nothing about this made sense. No one had passed by. No help had been called. And yet, something was there. The moment everything changed had already happened, but what came next would redefine it entirely. The impact did not just damage the car. It dismantled every sense of control he thought he had. 1 second, he was driving. The next, he was inside a machine that no longer obeyed him, a cage of twisted metal that responded only to the laws of force and consequence. There was no time to react properly, no chance to correct a mistake or avoid what was already unfolding. The crash was not a single moment. It was a chain reaction of violence, each second compounding the last. The front of the vehicle absorbed the first blow, crumpling inward with a sound that felt deeper than noise, something that could be felt in the chest more than heard. The steering column jolted toward him. The airbags deployed with explosive force, but even that protection felt insignificant against the magnitude of the collision. The world outside the windshield ceased to exist in any recognizable form. Shapes blurred, colors smeared, direction lost meaning. Then came the secondary impact. The car did not stop immediately. It spun, disoriented and uncontrolled, the force slamming again, this time from the side. The force snapped his body against the restraint of the seatbelt, locking him into place while everything else around him shifted and broke. Glass shattered in every direction, scattering across the interior like sharp rain. The sound echoed, then vanished just as quickly as it came. And then it ended. Not gradually, not softly. It ended with a final, crushing halt that felt absolute. The motion was gone. The chaos froze. The car rested in a position that felt unnatural, slightly tilted, as if even gravity had been disrupted by what had just occurred. For a brief moment, there was nothing. No thought, no movement, no awareness. Just a blank space where time should have continued. Then, slowly, reality forced its way back in. Sensation returned in fragments. A dull ache in his chest. A sharp sting across his arms. The metallic taste of something unfamiliar in his mouth. His ears rang with a high-pitched tone that made it difficult to distinguish any real sound from the aftermath. He tried to focus, but the environment around him resisted clarity. The dashboard was cracked, parts of it pushed inward. The windshield was no longer a window, but a fractured barrier barely holding together. The side door had collapsed inward, pressing against his leg with relentless pressure. Every direction he looked confirmed the same truth. This was not a minor accident. This was destruction. His breathing became more urgent, but not more effective. Each inhale felt restricted, as if the air itself had thickened. Panic began to rise, not as a sudden burst, but as a slow, creeping realization that the situation was worse than he could immediately understand. He attempted to move his arms, but resistance met him instantly. The space around him had shrunk. The car had folded into itself, and he was caught inside it. There was no immediate pain that screamed for attention, and that made it more dangerous. It created uncertainty. Was he injured badly, or was his body simply too overwhelmed to respond? He could not tell. All he knew was that nothing was functioning the way it should. He turned his head slightly, trying to see beyond the wreckage, hoping to catch a glimpse of the road, of another vehicle, of anything that suggested he was not alone in this moment. But the angle of the car and the shattered glass distorted everything. The outside world felt distant, disconnected, as if it existed somewhere just out of reach. No voices followed the crash. No footsteps approached. No immediate rescue came. The absence of people was almost as shocking as the accident itself. Roads are rarely empty for long. Someone should have seen it. Someone should have stopped. But the seconds stretched, then multiplied, and still nothing changed. The reality became harder to ignore. This crash had happened in a moment and place where no one was there to witness it. And that changed everything. Because now, it was not just about surviving the impact. It was about surviving what came after. The waiting, the uncertainty, the fragile line between holding on and slipping away unnoticed. The crash no one saw coming had already happened. What followed would be even more unpredictable. The silence that followed was not empty. It pressed in from every side, heavy and suffocating, filling the space where sound should have been. After the violence of the crash, the absence of noise felt unnatural, almost wrong, as if the world itself had paused and forgotten to continue. There were no passing cars, no distant voices, no immediate signs that anyone knew what had just happened. Just the faint, irregular ticking of the damaged engine and the shallow rhythm of his breathing, growing more unstable with each passing second. He tried to call out, but his voice did not come out the way he expected. It was weak, strained, barely more than a broken sound that dissolved into the stillness. It did not travel. It did not echo. It simply disappeared. The realization hit him harder than the crash itself. No one could hear him. His body felt heavier now, as if the weight of the situation had settled into every muscle. The initial shock was fading, and in its place came something more dangerous: awareness. Pain began to sharpen, no longer distant or scattered, but precise and undeniable. His chest tightened with every breath. His leg throbbed under the pressure of the crushed door. His hands trembled, not from fear alone, but from the strain of trying to move in a space that no longer allowed it. He attempted again to free himself. His fingers searched for leverage, for anything that might give him even a slight advantage against the wreckage surrounding him. But the car did not respond. It held him in place with cold indifference. Metal does not negotiate. It does not bend back out of sympathy. It stays where force has left it, and he was trapped within its final shape. His breathing grew faster, but less effective. Panic was no longer creeping. It was building, not as chaos, but as a controlled urgency that demanded action without offering any clear path forward. He needed to get out. He needed air. He needed help. But each of those needs felt equally distant, equally impossible in that moment. He turned his head again, forcing his vision to focus despite the dizziness threatening to pull him under. The outside world remained just beyond reach. The shattered windshield let in light, but not clarity. The road stretched out in fragments, empty and still. There was no movement. No indication that another vehicle was approaching. No shadow passing by. Nothing. Time began to lose its structure. Seconds felt longer, heavier, stretched by the intensity of the situation. Every moment carried weight, not because of what was happening, but because of what was not happening. No rescue, no interruption, no change. Just the slow, relentless progression of being alone in a place where he could not survive indefinitely. His thoughts shifted, no longer searching for immediate solutions, but confronting something deeper. The possibility that this was it. That the crash had not only trapped him physically, but had placed him in a situation where help might never arrive in time. It was not a dramatic realization. It was quiet, steady, and far more terrifying because of that. He tried once more to call out, forcing whatever strength he had left into his voice. The sound was slightly stronger this time, but it still carried no distance. It remained confined to the interior of the broken vehicle, bouncing off surfaces that could not respond. His strength was fading, not all at once, but in small, noticeable ways. His grip weakened. His breathing became more uneven. His focus slipped, returning only in short bursts. The fight to stay conscious became just as important as the need to escape, because if he lost that, nothing else would matter. The silence did not break. The isolation did not change. And the desperation grew, not as panic, but as a quiet understanding that time was no longer on his side. Then, within that overwhelming stillness, something shifted. Not loud, not sudden, but enough to break the pattern. Enough to change what came next. At first, it did not register as something real. Through the fractured edges of his vision, still struggling to hold focus, there was movement. Subtle, low to the ground. It did not match the stillness that had defined everything since the crash. For a moment, his mind rejected it, treating it as a trick of exhaustion or fading consciousness. Nothing had moved until now. Nothing had broken the silence. Why would that change? But it did. The movement came closer, slow and deliberate, carrying a presence that felt out of place in the middle of destruction. It was not mechanical. It was not random debris shifting. It had intention. It had direction. And as it drew nearer, the shape began to form with clarity. A dog. Not distant. Not passing by. Right there, within the wreckage, navigating the broken edges of the car as if it understood exactly where to step and what to avoid. Its body moved with caution, but without hesitation. There was no panic in it, no confusion, just focus. For a brief moment, this belief overtook everything else. This did not make sense. There had been no one on the road, no sign of life. And yet here it was, appearing in the exact moment when isolation had reached its peak. His mind struggled to process it, to assign it meaning. Was it a stray? Had it followed the sound of the crash? Or had it been there all along, unseen until now? The dog moved closer to the driver's side, its eyes fixed on him with an intensity that felt almost human. Not curious, not fearful, aware. It stopped just short of the twisted door, assessing the situation in a way that seemed far beyond instinct alone. He tried to speak again, this time not out of desperation, but out of something else. Confusion, recognition, a fragile sense of connection in a moment where none should exist. His voice came out weak, barely forming words, but the dog reacted immediately. Its ears lifted, its posture shifted. It had heard him, and it responded, not with noise at first, but with movement. It circled slightly, examining the crushed frame of the car, stepping carefully over shards of glass and bent metal. It searched for an opening, a way in, or perhaps a way to reach him more directly. Its behavior was not random. It was purposeful. The man watched, his fading strength momentarily replaced by a fragile thread of attention. Something about this was different. Animals wander, they react, but this felt calculated, as if the dog was not just present, but engaged, as if it understood that something was wrong and that action was required. Then came the first sound, a sharp bark that cut through the silence like nothing else had since the crash. It was not continuous, not frantic. It was controlled, deliberate, as if directed at something beyond the immediate scene. The sound echoed into the empty road, breaking the stillness that had felt permanent just moments before. The dog paused, listening, then barked again, this time louder, more insistent. It stepped back from the car, then forward again, pacing with increasing urgency. Its focus shifted between the man and the open road, as if trying to connect two separate worlds that refused to meet. One where he was trapped, fading. Another where help might still exist, unaware of what had happened. The man felt something change within him, not physically, not in a way that reduced the pain or freed him from the wreckage, but mentally. The isolation that had consumed him moments before was no longer absolute. There was something else here now, something alive, something active, something that refused to let the moment remain silent. His breathing steadied slightly, not because his condition had improved, but because his mind had found something to hold on to, a presence, a witness, a possibility. The dog moved again, closer this time, lowering its head toward the broken frame near his side. It sniffed, nudged, tested the edges of the metal as if searching for a point of entry or weakness. Its actions were no longer just attention. They were attempts. And in that moment, one question began to form, cutting through the confusion and disbelief. This was not just a coincidence. Something about this presence felt intentional. And whatever came next would prove whether that instinct was right. At first, it could have been explained away. Animals respond to sound. They investigate disturbance. A crash like that would draw attention from anything nearby. That was the logical explanation, the simple one, the version of reality that did not require deeper questions. But as the seconds passed, that explanation began to fall apart. The dog was not acting like it had simply wandered into the scene. It was watching him, not casually, not with the detached curiosity of an animal encountering something unfamiliar, but with a focus that felt directed, almost intentional. Its movements were not random. Every step it took had purpose. Every pause carried awareness. It shifted its position, as if trying to understand the situation from different angles, as if searching for a solution rather than reacting to chaos. He studied it as best as he could through blurred vision and fading strength. The dog's posture remained alert, but not fearful. There was no hesitation in its approach, no instinct to flee from the broken metal or the scent of something wrong in the air. Instead, it leaned closer, as if drawn in by something it recognized. That was when the question changed. This was no longer about why the dog was there. It was about what it was trying to do. The dog moved again, closer to the crushed section of the vehicle near his leg. It lowered its head and pressed its nose against the twisted edge of metal, then pulled back slightly, reassessing. It repeated the action, this time applying more pressure, testing resistance as if it expected the structure to respond. When it did not, the dog adjusted, shifting to another point, then another, each attempt more deliberate than the last. This was not random behavior. It was problem-solving. The realization unsettled him, not because it was frightening, but because it challenged everything he understood in that moment. His mind, already strained by pain and exhaustion, struggled to process what he was seeing. This level of persistence, this kind of focused action, did not fit into the simple explanation of instinct alone. The dog paused again, lifting its head and looking directly at him. There was something in that gaze, not emotion in the human sense, but awareness, recognition, as if it understood that he was the center of the situation, that everything happening was connected to him. He tried to move his hand, just slightly, a small gesture that required more effort than it should have. The motion was weak, barely visible, but the dog reacted immediately. It stepped closer, narrowing the distance between them, its attention sharpening even further. It had seen him move. It had understood. A low sound escaped the dog, not quite a bark, not quite a whine. It was something in between, something that carried urgency without panic. It circled again, faster this time, returning to the same points it had tested before, but with increased intensity. It pushed, scratched, nudged, as if time had suddenly become more important. And it had. Inside the wreckage, his condition was not improving. The effort of staying conscious was becoming heavier, more difficult to maintain. His breathing was shallow again, uneven, slipping back toward instability. The brief clarity he had found was fading, replaced once more by the weight of exhaustion. But the dog did not slow down. If anything, it became more focused. It stopped its attempts at the metal and turned its attention outward, toward the road. It stepped away from the car, just far enough to create distance, then turned back, looking at him once more. The pause lasted only a moment, but it felt significant, as if something had shifted in its understanding. Then it barked, louder than before, sharper, directed. It was no longer just making noise. It was calling out. The sound carried across the empty stretch of road, breaking the silence in a way that demanded attention. The dog barked again, then again, each time turning its head slightly, projecting the sound further, as if trying to reach beyond the immediate space. This was no longer instinct reacting to a crash. This was action, intentional, repetitive, focused on an outcome. The man watched, his fading awareness clinging to the unfolding moment. Something about this was undeniable now. Whatever had brought the dog here, whatever it understood, it was not passive. It was not indifferent. It was involved. And as the barking continued, echoing into the distance, one possibility began to take shape. The dog was not just there. It was trying to bring someone else. The situation had reached a point where hesitation no longer existed as an option. Inside the wreckage, his strength was slipping in measurable ways now. What had once been effort was turning into limitation. His grip weakened further, his breathing became irregular again, and his ability to stay fully conscious felt like something he was losing control over. The window for survival was narrowing, not dramatically, but steadily, in a way that made every second matter more than the last. Outside the vehicle, the dog had already shifted its behavior. The attempts to interact with the car, to push or reach him directly, had stopped. Not because they had failed, but because something had changed in its assessment. It had recognized a boundary it could not overcome alone. And now, it was facing a different problem: stay or act. The dog stood a few steps away from the wreckage, its body tense, its attention divided between the man and the empty road stretching outward. It looked back at him again, holding that same focused gaze, as if confirming something internally, as if making a decision that required more than instinct. There was no visible trigger, no sound in the distance, no approaching help. And yet, the decision happened. The dog turned. It moved away from the car, not slowly, not uncertainly, but with sudden direction. Its pace increased quickly, shifting from controlled steps into a run, its body cutting through the empty road with urgency. It was leaving. For a brief moment, the man felt something close to loss. The only presence that had broken the isolation was now disappearing. The fragile connection that had replaced silence was fading just as quickly as it had appeared. His vision strained, trying to follow the movement as long as possible, watching the dog grow smaller with distance. Then it was gone. The silence returned, but it was not the same silence as before. This one carried weight. It carried the memory of movement, of action, of something that had not given up, and that changed how it felt. It was no longer empty. It was waiting. Inside the wreckage, his condition continued to decline. The absence of the dog removed the only external focus he had, forcing his awareness back onto his own body, onto the limitations that were becoming harder to ignore. His breathing struggled again, each inhale shallower than the last. His head tilted slightly, not by choice, but by the slow pull of fatigue overtaking control. Time stretched again. But now, it carried a different tension, because something had been set in motion. The dog had not left randomly. It had not wandered off. There had been intention in its movement, a direction that suggested purpose rather than escape. And that created a new question, one that replaced the earlier fear of being completely alone. Was it coming back? Or more importantly, was it bringing something with it? The seconds passed without answer. His vision flickered again, clarity fading at the edges. The fight to remain conscious was becoming uneven, slipping between brief moments of awareness and longer gaps where everything felt distant. The world inside the car narrowed further, closing in around him as his ability to resist weakened. But somewhere beyond that narrowing space, beyond the silence that had returned, something was happening, unseen, unconfirmed, but already in motion. The decision had been made in seconds. What followed would determine everything. Time was no longer something that passed quietly. It had become an active force, pressing against him from every direction, tightening its grip with each second that slipped away. Inside the wreckage, everything now revolved around one simple, brutal reality. He did not have much left. His breathing had changed again. It was no longer just shallow. It was inconsistent, breaking rhythm in a way that made each inhale uncertain. Some breaths came too quickly, others delayed as if his body hesitated to continue. His chest rose unevenly, struggling against pressure that had not eased since the moment of impact. Air entered, but not enough. Not steadily, not reliably. His vision dimmed at the edges. It did not happen all at once. It crept inward, slowly reducing the clarity of what he could see, turning sharp lines into blurred shapes. The interior of the car felt smaller now, more confined, as if the space itself was closing in around him. He tried to focus on something stable, something that could anchor his awareness, but nothing held for long. The effort to stay conscious had become a fight he was starting to lose. His thoughts no longer moved with the same structure. They came in fragments, disconnected and incomplete. One moment, he was aware of the pressure on his leg. The next, he was somewhere else entirely, pulled into brief lapses where nothing made sense. Each return to clarity required more effort than the last, as if he was being pulled away from the moment, inch by inch. Outside, the road remained empty. No passing vehicles. No distant sound of an engine. No indication that help was approaching. The absence of movement made the passage of time feel heavier. Every second without change reinforced the same truth. He was running out of it. Inside his body, the signs were becoming impossible to ignore. His hands, once trembling from strain, now barely responded at all. His grip loosened without intention. His fingers rested where they fell, no longer searching for leverage, no longer attempting to fight against the metal that held him in place. Even the pain had shifted. It was still there, but it had dulled in a way that felt wrong. Not because the damage had lessened, but because his body was beginning to shut down its response. The sharpness had faded into something distant, something easier to ignore, and that made it more dangerous. Pain signals life. The absence of it suggested something else entirely. His head leaned slightly forward. He did not correct it. The strength required to adjust, to maintain posture, to stay fully present, was slipping beyond his reach. His breathing slowed again, not into calm, but into something weaker. Less forceful, less certain. The silence pressed in once more. But this time, it was different. It was no longer just the absence of sound. It was the absence of resistance. The moment where the body begins to let go, not dramatically, not suddenly, but quietly, as if surrender happens in small, unnoticed steps rather than a single decision. And yet, somewhere beyond that silence, something was still moving. Far from the wreckage, out of sight. The dog had not disappeared without purpose. It was running. Its pace had not slowed since it left the scene. It moved with urgency, covering distance with a focus that ignored distraction, that pushed past hesitation. The road ahead stretched out, but the dog did not question direction. It followed something internal, something fixed, as if it knew exactly what it needed to find. Its breathing was controlled but fast, its body cutting through the space between isolation and possibility. It did not stop to rest. It did not slow to reassess. The urgency that had taken hold in that critical moment continued, uninterrupted. Because time was not just running out for the man trapped in the wreckage. It was running out for whatever chance remained to save him. Back inside the car, his awareness slipped again. Longer this time. The gap between clarity and darkness widened, threatening not to close again. His breathing became faint, his body heavier, his presence in the moment weaker. The race was no longer theoretical. It had begun, and it would not wait for anyone to catch up. Digit 1, par scrivere proximo to pico, o digitas alterax q desea. The first sign did not come as a loud interruption. It came as a shift. A distant sound broke through the silence, faint at first, then growing stronger. Tires against pavement, voices carried by urgency, movement approaching with purpose. The world that had felt empty began to fill again, not slowly, but all at once. The stillness that had surrounded the wreckage was gone, and at the center of it all, the dog returned. It did not arrive alone. It ran ahead of them, guiding, leading, refusing to slow down until the scene came back into view. The people behind it followed without hesitation, drawn not just by the possibility of an accident, but by the persistence of something they could not ignore. The barking had reached them. The urgency had convinced them, and now they were here. Everything changed in seconds. Doors opened. Voices called out. Hands moved quickly, assessing, reacting, breaking through the stillness that had nearly claimed him. The wreckage was no longer a prison without witness. It was now a problem being solved, piece by piece, with precision and speed. Inside the car, his awareness flickered one last time. Through blurred vision, through the fading edges of consciousness, he saw a movement. Shapes that made sense again. Voices that carried meaning. And beyond all of it, one constant presence that had never truly left the story. The dog. It stood just outside the broken frame, watching, alert, still focused. Not frantic. Not confused, as if its role had been fulfilled, but its attention remained. As if it understood that this moment, this exact point between life and loss, was the reason it had acted in the first place. The rescue unfolded quickly after that. Metal was forced open. Pressure was relieved. Hands reached in where none had been before. Air flowed more freely. The weight that had held him in place began to loosen piece by piece until the impossible situation started to give way. He was pulled out. Alive. Barely, but enough. And that was all that mattered. In the hours and days that followed, the story spread. Not just because a man survived a devastating accident, but because of how it happened. Because of what made the difference between silence and rescue. People tried to explain it. Some called it instinct. Others called it coincidence. A few saw something deeper, something harder to define. But one fact remained unchanged. Without the dog, no one would have come in time. And that is what transforms a story like this into something more than survival. It becomes a question, one that lingers long after the details are known. Why was the dog there at that exact moment? Why did it act the way it did? Why did it refuse to leave until help was found? Some will search for logical answers. Others will see purpose where logic cannot reach. But the truth does not need to be fully explained to be understood. Sometimes, help arrives in forms no one expects. Sometimes, in the moment where everything is about to be lost, something intervenes without being asked, without being seen coming, and without needing recognition. The man survived because something refused to let the story end there. And that changes everything.